Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Thursday, May 5th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment down below with what your baseball picks are for Thursday. If you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at pickdawgz.com at the Premium Picks tab. I'm running a daily $15 MLB best bet, so you can check that out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Thursday, May 5th. First up, we take a look at the game between the Los Angeles Angels and the Boston Red Sox. Shohei Ohtani returns to the mound to face off against Rich Hill in this one. Now, Shohei Ohtani has an ERA above 4 this season, but that does not really worry me at all. When you look at his numbers, 13.97 strikeouts per 9, a big improvement from last year so far. His walks are down from last year, 2.33 walks per 9, which is very solid for him, and less than a 1 home run per 9, 0.93 this season. So he is pitching well, and his advanced analytics show that 2.09 FIP this year with a 1.82 expected FIP. Now on the other side, Rich Hill, the advanced analytics aren't his friend. 3.71 ERA, not too bad at all, but the walks have been a little bit of an issue. He's not missing a ton of bats, only 11 strikeouts this season in 17 innings of work, and that gives him a 4.55 FIP and a 5.15 xFIP as well. I think the Angels' bats get to Hill early. I think Ohtani pitches well in this one, so give me the Angels on the money line. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds take on the Milwaukee Brewers with Adrian Hauser and Hunter Green on the mound for this contest. Now, this one's pretty simple for me. I just have to continue to fade the Reds until they can show me any signs of consistency on both sides of the baseball. You know, Hunter Green, in my opinion, is going to be a solid starting pitcher in this league and in this Reds rotation in the future. He's shown very promising signs with the strikeout stuff, 22 Ks in 18 innings, but he's had a lot of issues with the home run ball and the walks this year. He's already allowed 4 walks in each of his last 2 starts against the Cardinals and Rockies, and he's allowed 2 home runs in his last outing against the Rockies as well. I just can't back him in this spot, especially when you see how poorly the Reds' bullpen has performed. And you're going up against a Milwaukee Brewers team that has a very, very strong bullpen. The lineup's been clicking as well as of late. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of Adrian Hauser, and I do think his ERA is a little bit misleading, I think he does good enough to keep the Brewers ahead in this game, and I think they win this game by 2 or more. So I'll lay the run line with the Brewers here. Next up, we see the Washington Nationals taking on the Colorado Rockies with Aaron Sanchez and Antonio Senzatella as your starters. Now, for me, I have to lean towards the over in this game just because I cannot back a starter confidently. You look at Aaron Sanchez, 1-1 with a 6.75 ERA. He hasn't had a lot of work this year, only 9 1/3 innings, but I was worried about him going into the season. He doesn't miss a lot of bats, and he's already got hit pretty hard this year. And on the other side, Antonio Senzatella, sure, a 3.66 ERA is solid for a Coors Field pitcher, but a 1.83 WHIP. He's given up 33 base hits and only 19 2/3 innings of work. Sooner or later, that's going to come back to bite you, especially when you only have 6 strikeouts in 19 2/3 innings. That's not going to get it done, even against the Nationals lineup that's been pretty inconsistent this year. I know we've seen more unders this year than overs because of the change of the baseball. It kind of took a little while for the books and the bettors to readjust to how low scoring the league has been this season, but I do think we have an over on our hands in this one. So give me the over in the Nationals Rockies. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the Philadelphia Phillies with Taijuan Walker and Aaron Nola as your starters. Now, the last outing that Taijuan Walker had was against this Phillies lineup, and although he didn't give up a single earned run, it was a little bit concerning for me to see him only have 1 strikeout in 5 innings of work, 2 walks and 2 hits allowed. You know, we saw Taijuan Walker struggle to miss bats at the end of the regular season last year for the Mets, and for that reason, his ERA did go up quite a bit. I do think the Phillies are going to get to him in this game early on. On the other side, Aaron Nola, he started the season off in poor form. He had 4 home runs allowed in his first 3 outings combined, but this season he still has 34 Ks in 27 2/3 innings. The WHIP is .94, which is top 20 in the National League right now. And in his last 2 outings, which combined to be 13 innings of work, he's only allowed 1 home run. So you're seeing the improvements made to limiting those long balls. His offense really hasn't supported him much. Last 2 outings, he's pitched pretty well, but the Phillies scored no runs in either of those starts. I do think they get on the board here early in this one. And when you look what the Mets did with their bullpen, I have to mention it. It was a real head scratcher for me on Wednesday afternoon. The Mets were in a tie game, 0-0, bases loaded for the Braves, top of the 6th. With 1 out, they decided to bring in Adam Ottavino, who had already pitched in the prior 2 days. He pitched in Game 1 of the doubleheader on Tuesday. He also pitched a Monday night's contest. It's really rare to see relievers go 3 straight days, especially when there's a lot of other pitchers available out of the pen. To put him in the most pressure cooker situation of that game, which ended up costing the Mets that game, it's a real head scratcher to me. This Mets bullpen is very talented, but it's been mismanaged in the past, and we're already seeing that this year. Give me the Phillies on the money line in Game 1. Next up, we see the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Cleveland Guardians with Jose Barrios and Aaron Savale as your starters here. Now, it's tempting to take the Guardians as the moneyline dog here, but they're going to be coming off a doubleheader on Wednesday. And Aaron Savale, the ERA above 10 this season, I do think that that's not going to be the case for much longer. But he has got hit really hard. I mean, his last 3 outings, he's given up at least 1 home run. His last 2 outings, he's given up at least 6 earned runs. So he just hasn't been able to figure it out quite yet. And we know the Blue Jays lineup is strong. I think they get to him here. While on the other side, Jose Barrios, although he is looking a little bit better, I would say a lot better than his beginning of the season performances, he's still getting into issues here and there. He had 7 base hits allowed with 1 home run allowed in his last outing against the Astros. And the Guardians have been absolutely money against right-handed pitching this season. Right now ranked inside the top 3 in team OPS against righties. I think they're going to be able to put up a fight offensively also. So I'm going to take the over in this game. I think this total is a little bit too low. So give me the over in the Blue Jays Guardians. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Now, this is a tough game for me as I'm not big on either of these starting pitchers right now. You look at Chris Archer and Spencer Watkins, who are the projected starters here. Both guys have sub-3 ERAs, so on paper they look like they're off to amazing starts to the year, but Chris Archer, a 5.55 FIP this season. The biggest reason for that has been the home runs and the walks. The strikeouts have been there. 14 Ks and 15 in the third innings is not bad, but 3 home runs allowed in 15 innings of work with 9 walks allowed. I do worry about that quite a bit. While on the other side, Spencer Watkins, he also has a very high FIP at 5.17 because of his lack of striking out batters, 4.08 Ks per 9 and 4.08 walks per 9. So he actually has as many strikeouts as he has walks this season, which is usually a recipe for disaster on the mound. The Twins lineup is a lot stronger than Baltimore's right now. I also think the Twins have the advantage in the bullpen, so that's why I'll lean with the Minnesota Twins here on the money line. I also lean to the over in this game. Next up, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Houston Astros with Tariq Skubal and Jose Urquidy on the mound. Now, this is a game where I do think the dog could be barking and biting quite a bit. Tariq Skubal, 3.05 ERA this season. He's had 20 Ks in 20 2/3 innings. It wasn't his best outing last time out against the Twins, but up until that point, he was pitching really, really well. And against an Astros lineup that's outside the top 15 in team OPS against lefties, I think Skubal has a quality start in this one. While on the other side, Jose Urquidy has not shown me any signs to take him at this kind of price at home. 5.95 ERA. His expected ERA is above 7 right now this season, a 7.21 expected ERA. I think the Tigers can get to him early, and that might be enough for an outright win. You can take him on the run line and get that 1.5 runs, but I'm going to take a shot with Detroit money line here, getting a great value price. Next up, we see the Miami Marlins taking on the San Diego Padres with Nick Martinez and Jesus Luzardo as your starters. Now, we're going to see a lefty versus a righty starting pitching matchup in this one, and both teams benefit offensively here. As the Padres, they're facing the lefty, they're top 10 in team OPS against lefties, while the Marlins, who face the righty Nick Martinez, they're top 10 in team OPS against righties this season. I do think Luzardo is the better option on the mound here. Nick Martinez, although his ERA isn't too bad at 4.12, his expected ERA is 6.69 and his FIP is 6.53. The biggest reason for that, the walks and the home runs. He's given up 7 walks in his last 2 outings. He's given up 5 home runs in his last 3 outings. That's not going to get it done, especially against a Marlins lineup that's made righties pay this season. I think Luzardo is the better option, and because of that, I'm going to take the Marlins in the first 5 innings of this one, getting the half a run as the dog here. I think if at worst we see a tie game here and we get a win, getting the half a run, but I do like the Marlins to take a lead after 5 innings in this one. Next up, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Seattle Mariners with Shane McClanahan and Robbie Ray as the starters. To me, this game is a coin flip in my opinion, and there's no surprise to see the moneyline price where it is. And I think this game could go either way. When you look at both of these teams offensively, against lefties, they're very, very similar this season. Team OPS-wise, they're right now 11th and 12th in the league, or 10th and 11th, excuse me. Rays are 10th, Mariners 11th. When you look at strikeout percentage against lefties this season, both teams have done a pretty good job at limiting Ks. The Mariners have been number 1 in baseball this year at forcing walks against left-handed pitching, but Shane McClanahan hasn't really had issues with allowing too many free passes. In fact, he's got 42 Ks in 27 innings of pitch this season. He had 11 Ks last time out against the Twins. And although he lost that game, I do think he is a slightly better option on the mound this one. Robbie Ray's strikeout numbers are down from last year. We know he's the defending Cy Young winner, but only 26 Ks in 30 innings for Robbie Ray is really surprising, and it does concern me a bit. I'm going to take the Rays here in a coin flip game. Should be a close one. Should be an entertaining one as well. In our final game of the night, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the San Francisco Giants. Now, as of now, we don't see an official line released for this game, but we do see Mikolas and Webb as the projected starters. Make sure you're getting the most up-to-date information. We're going to go with Mikolas and Webb for now. Both guys are on their games this year. Mikolas, 1.52 ERA and a .84 whip this season, while Webb, 3.26 ERA, 3-1 record. He's only allowed 1 home run in 30 and third innings this season, so both pitchers are very sharp to start the 2022 campaign. The biggest difference maker for me in this game is the fact that the Giants hit a lot better against righties than the Cardinals do this season. Right now, St. Louis ranked 25th in baseball with a .618 team OPS against right-handed pitching. The Giants top 10 in baseball with a .713 team OPS against righties. To me, playing at home with very similar starting pitchers but with the edge offensively, I'm going to have to take the Giants here on the money line in a game that should be a low-scoring battle. And that's it. Those are the games for Thursday, May 5th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to leave your baseball picks in the comment section below. If you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.